What's going on? Episode 8, Real Estate Coffee Talk.
Welcome back.
Can't believe we made it to episode 8.
Yeah. Well,
We've been pretty good about it.
I can tell you why. Because the point of the podcast is educate professionals in the industry and consumers on all aspects of real estate.
Right. What would they do without us?
We got a mission.
That's true. Do have a mission.
So what are we talking about today? I think we're going to talk about a topic that's fairly common today with the environment. And it's not about interest rates. It's not about how competitive it is. I guess that'll play in a little bit. But it's more so, let's talk about equity right now. Because that's the one good thing about this market is that current homeowners are gaining a ton of equity, naturally, with the large appreciation rates. So with that equity, is it bad to sell if you need to buy again? You know, are you going to run into issues? Maybe, as we're going to talk about that. With rising interest rates, is it bad to tap into your equity depending on how you're going to use it? We're going to talk about that as well. That'll probably be the second portion. I think that's what we're going to get into. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds like an interesting topic. I think. I think you guys probably see a lot more stuff in regards to equity and the questions that you get in regards to potential refinances, pulling that stuff out. But then, like you said, I've definitely had the conversation of, well, I have all this equity. Is it potentially a good time to pull all this out, sell my current home and buy a home, and different scenarios that go along with that? So, yeah, I think it'll be a good topic to kind of cover some certain areas that most people don't normally.
For sure. Well, I think the best place to start is, equity is really high right now, right? If I don't sell now, am I going to lose out on that equity? If I need to buy, should I wait till the market cools off? Should I wait till prices go down? I think we have the answers to this. We don't know what's going to happen, but we could look at what's happened in the past and what we're seeing and what we can predict in the future. What do you guys think? Should you not sell if you need to buy? Should you sell? Do you think we're going to lose equity? What if somebody's right now concerned that if they buy a house now, or if they sell now, or if they don't sell now, that they're not going to be able to sell their house for the same price that they would 6 months from now?
So here's what I'll say. I mean, it's the same thing as everything. When you guys get the question about interest rates, where do you think they're going to go? I mean, you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know what's going on. But based on today's values of homes, if you're worried that they're going to go down, take advantage of it.
Yep.
But then you also have to be comfortable with the fact that if you've refinanced in the last year, 2 years, and you might have a pretty low rate compared to where they are now, you're going to have to be comfortable with my rate might go up 2% or from a 3 to a 5 or a 5.5 or whatever the difference is. So you have to be comfortable and acknowledge, like, hey, I'm okay with the fact that my rate might go up. And then you also have to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to have to find a house.
Yeah.
So that's the main question right now is, okay, I know I can sell my house like that.
Right. Well, here's the main concern, and I know Dustin's already crunched numbers on this. Historically, even going all the way back past 2008, right, it's very, very unlikely for houses to go down in value, right? It's unlikely, just based off of past data. Does it mean that's never going to happen? Probably not. What do you think, Dustin?
The past 4 recessions show that we've only had one dip we've only had one dip with home values. That was it. And that was the 2008 crash. Every other recession, we still have gained momentum. And if you look at it dating back to 2012, even if you lost that value, you lost that value in the crash from 2012 to now, you still gain that equity back. So I don't really know or understand why interest rates really are playing a part. I think that this is, I just released a video on this. I think that this is just fear mongering. It's the news. Interest rates, you buy based on life events. You don't buy when the interest rates are cheap. Remember, people have been buying since, if you look back all the way to 74, when interest rates creeped up towards, in the late 70s, where they creeped up to 16, 17%. People were still buying houses. You still need a shelter. But if you really want to look at the numbers, okay, well, let's take renting. The year-over-year rental increase was about 4% until last year. And this year, the numbers released, it's 11.8%. So I don't know. You tell me. So if we're looking at, the average rates in the 5s, and they've just been shy of just 8%, we have to look at the numbers, and I feel like the big part of this is the fear-mongering media, because they're just looking for ratings rather than like looking at the true numbers.
Right.
So,
and very true, and that was a really good point. And the other thing too is, okay, why did the 2008 crash happen? Right. It wasn't because there was, so much demand and, not enough inventory. That was part of it. But the biggest reason is because there was a lot of predatory lending, and there was a lot of loans being given to people who could not afford them, or could not afford the payment, or can, afford the loan. And then, of course, what happens when you do that? They foreclose, right? So when you have all these people foreclosing, and you have this super competitive market, and then all this inventory floods the market after everybody forecloses, of course you're going to have a crash, right? The difference today is we don't have that environment, right? There's no predatory lending. We have very strict guidelines.
There's actual criteria to get a loan.
You have to prove that you make money, that you can afford a loan, right? Before you could walk into a bank and say, I make $100,000 a year, I'd like $500,000, please. And sure, no problem. So that's the difference, I think, in today's market. And I think people have to understand it's not the same. It's not even close to the same, right? Sure. Could we see a recession?
Not even. No. I mean, even
sure,
if
we could see a recession. We're probably going to, right? Based off data and what we're seeing in the news and everything that's going on.
But we're
probably headed towards a recession, but doesn't mean we're going to have a crash. Probably not, right?
The status of the housing market, I don't think is going to. I don't foresee it crashing.
Right.
I see it maybe leveling out, but I mean, right now the main problem, until the inventory issue is fixed,
right?
It doesn't matter what the rates are. We're still going to have this because there's still going to be 10 buyers for every one house. I think people are still going to start averaging 3 to 5 offers before they get one accepted. I mean, I don't think that's going to change until this inventory issue is fixed.
Yeah, if it keeps like that, we're never going to see a crash, because the only time we're going to see a crash is when you see a flood of inventory like we did in 2008, right? And we know that's not going to happen unless everybody decides to foreclose or nobody wants their house anymore, or whatever it may be, which, not saying that won't happen. It's very unlikely, right? You'd probably agree with the way lending guidelines are now. Yeah. But that's the difference. That's the difference between 2008 and now, right? And that's why anybody who's concerned about, should I buy now? I'm going to wait for it to crash. Or if you think the market's going to crash and that's what you're worried about,
then I think you'll be waiting a long time if that's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, right. And I mean, okay, is the market going to level out, and is it going to be easier to get an offer accepted? Probably. Yeah. Is it going to be easier? Is now a competitive market and sometimes emotionally, dampening on some people? Sure. But it doesn't mean that the market's going to crash. You know what I mean? So I think that's the answer to the first question is, should I wait to buy? Should I wait for the market to crash? I don't think you should wait, because we know that waiting isn't doing anything good for you. It's actually costing you money, because houses are appreciating every single month. It was 2-3%, Dustin, we were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
2-3% houses appreciate every single month. So, and on top of it, interest rates are going up, right? So you could lose your money on your interest rate and then your money on the appreciation, or you could just buy now and call it a day, right? Yeah. So that's what I think a good answer to that question would be is if you're waiting. Now, I do think there is an issue if you need to buy and sell right now, because it's competitive. There's no question about that. It's competitive. It's hard to get a house under contract, especially if you're your 5, 3, even 10% down conventional or government, borrowers. It's hard to get an offer accepted right now. So if you have to sell and you have to buy, and it's another thing, you have that contingency too. So could it be a stressful process? Definitely. What do you guys think? I mean, if somebody's kicking around the idea of selling and buying and they're worried about getting a house under contract, I mean, I know we have strategies to make it less risky if they don't find something. We obviously talk about that all the time. We were talking about that yesterday. What do you guys think? If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I don't know if I should do this because of how competitive the market is, should I wait to sell and buy because I have to do both, or I'm scared of the competition?
Yeah, so I mean, the beauty of the way that the market has gone these last 2 years is more companies like yours have brought in products to combat things like that. But I mean, if you're just going to go the natural way without taking advantage of a sell now, buy later program where
whatever
something like that, I mean, I think there's definitely a worth to it and a value to it, because you're going to be able to get more money for your home than probably have been able to in years past.
Right.
Well, not probably. Like, you will get more money than you have been able to.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, finding the home is the issue. And then if you have these contingencies in place, I mean, you guys see it all the time. People are waiving any contingency they can just to get offers accepted. So now if you have, hey, I have to sell my house, I mean, that's a big, long process. There's things that can go wrong. I'm sure you guys see it on your end, whether it's financing or inspection stuff, where deals fall apart all the time. So if I'm under contract on the buy, but it's relying on the sale of my home, okay, well, there's several points where that deal could fall apart. So, I mean, sellers don't want to take that risk. So, I mean, that's the difficulty of it.
No, and this is a little off topic. I do think there's a ton of solutions right now to get around this, right? Whether it's putting a certain clause into a contract that says, okay, I'll sell my house to you, but if I can't find a house, this is null and void. Or if you use like a buy and sell program like we have, there's so many solutions. So I think it's more so, if you're going to do it, make sure you have the right people in your circle, right?
Yeah, and just educate yourself too, because, I mean, or even if you want to go the orthodox route first, where you try and write offers
with the
contingencies. I mean, if you start to notice that's not working, then maybe that's like, hey,
I need to do something different.
Yeah. Because then, I mean, like we were talking, the programs that you guys have, and I'm sure there's a lot of other lenders that are rolling out similar stuff, or I know there's even big companies that's strictly all they do is programs to help with that and leverage your equity towards removing the sale contingency. I mean, those are always good alternatives if you're not able to, or you don't want to deal with the hassle of trying to get offers accepted.
No,
with
the bottom line is you're not going to get it in this market. That's the bottom line. Contingencies are done with. You're not going to get them. So you need an actionable program. You need something.
I'm not going to say they're done with.
Well,
you need a strategy.
Less than 10%.
The traditional.
It's difficult, but it's not impossible. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. The traditional way is gone. I think we mutually agree on that. Traditional way is gone. So you have to have some sort of strategy in play. That's all it is. So whether it's using like a program, like a buy and sell, or have something like that, or putting something in your contract that protects you from being bound to a sales contract on the seller side, that you're not going to move forward with this contract unless you buy. I think that's the only way. I really don't know of any other way you can compete in the market without it. So I think the answer to that question, based off of what we just kind of went through, is, should you wait? No, because there's ways around it.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you should wait.
Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be different? 100%.
Yeah, I don't think you should wait, but you definitely need to be prepared for potentially what the journey ahead may look like.
Right.
And just kind of accept that it might not be the easiest as if you were just buying a home without having to sell one. But at the end of the day, you're going to walk away with a lot of money from the sale of your home.
Right.
So I think that there's a lot of value in that, and it's definitely worth it. And I mean, like we said, you don't know. Sure, the value of your home may go up. Okay, but at the same time, the inventory problem could come. As the value of the home goes up, the inventory problem could be worse, and then it'd be 10 times harder to find a house. Or the value could go home, and you're not going to be able to capitalize on the amount of money that you would have had you done it now. So, I mean, there's give and takes to it, but I definitely would say don't wait. If it's something you've been considering, if it's something you have the option to do,
and if you're prepared,
for it, definitely
you have the right strategies in place and on how you're going to execute it.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, take advantage.
So, okay, well, I think we tackled those two questions. The next thing I want to talk about is pulling equity out of your home. So, we're in a rising interest rate environment. Pulling equity out of your home right now is not the most popular thing. But we do know that you can leverage debt, especially if it's against a giant asset like your house, to do other things with it. Whether it's using that money to grow your overall net worth or take care of other places you might be hurting. I mean, I think a lot of people are, who were considering that option before when rates are super low, are still asking themselves, is this still a good option for me? If I wanted to pull $20,000 or $30,000 out of my house and put it into an investment account, is that still going to make sense, right? Dustin, I know this is right up your alley. You talk about this stuff all the time. I think yes. I think the answer is yes, because even if you take out a 5% interest rate, yeah, you're paying a higher interest rate, but that money depending on what you're going to do with the money, right?
You put it into good use where it's going to grow at higher than 5%.
Yeah, the numbers make sense, right? If it's going to make you more money than what you're paying in interest, why wouldn't you do it, right? What would you say about that?
I mean, it really stems down to what your goals are. Do I think that you automatically take money out to invest? No, I don't think
definitely
that's
not.
always the right move.
Right.
I mean, the way you look at equity is that's your true growth in your money, and it averages out about 4 to 5%, which is a bond, right? So you're looking at that from that avenue. Another avenue is what is the money doing if you're not touching it? It's locked inside of four walls. You can't touch it. And when we look at it, you're like, oh, I want to keep that equity in the house. That's my nest egg to retire on. Well, here's the thing. If anything comes in the play of, you having the capability to pay that back, capacity, credit, character, so on and so forth, then you lose the opportunity to even touch that money. So if you've got $300,000 in equity because you decided to pay your house off, and you lose your job and you don't have a way to pay it back, well, sorry, you can't touch that money.
Right.
And if you do touch it, you got to pay it back. So it's called opportunity cost. So, what's the opportunity of you leveraging that equity? Is it going to be for investments? Is it going to be for home improvements to increase the value of your home? Are we looking at, taking care of high interest credit card debt? For an example, credit cards, 17 to 23% based on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's what those interest rates average at.
That's the big thing.
Paying just the minimum payment, you can carry that debt on for 15 plus years. So, at the end of the day, I think that credit cards are the worst thing to leverage out. And there are creative ways that you can utilize the equity to attack that debt, restructure things, and reinvest those savings back into the house. But you have to have an actionable plan. You can't just take stuff out to clear up. We live lives of cash flow. So we know that we live lives of cash flow, then we have to figure out what's going to be the best use of my money right there at that particular moment. And I think that everything is a case-by-case scenario. So I don't really think there's a right or a wrong answer. It's just, what are the circumstances that I'm dealing with right now?
Right. So the bottom line is don't just go take $20,000 out of your house because we said so, or because somebody told you to, or because you can invest at a higher rate of interest than you're going to pay, right? Don't just do that. It's all going to depend on what else is going on. The big thing I want to kind of highlight there is the credit cards. It's a huge problem we have right now with the credit card debt. And I can't remember. You told me this actually one time before, Dustin. It's if you make the minimum payment, it takes 30 years to pay off a credit card, typically, depending on the balance and stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
So because all a credit card is, and for anybody who doesn't know how a credit card works, it's interest only. So basically that minimum payment that you're paying that's required is only interest, and the only way to pay it down is to go above and beyond that minimum payment. So that's why it takes a whole 30 years to pay it off. And the interest rates are 17 to 23%, or I think that's what you said the average is. So you can keep paying that, right? The minimum payment's only $35-$40 a month.
But your balance is
manageable. Right.
Your balance isn't changing at all.
Or if you have some equity to work with in your home, and you talk to a mortgage planner and you find a way to restructure the debt that you have and utilize the equity to pay lower interest but also increase cash flow, and you can do whatever you want with that cash flow, whether it's to be debt-free quicker, invest, or whatever it may be, and you should do that. But I just think a lot of people, they have these credit cards with these huge balances and they just pay the minimum payment because that's easy. That's what they send. That's easy. That's what the bill is. They don't really think about how long it's going to take me to pay it off. And I think a lot of people don't really think about using the equity in their home. You know what I mean? Right. A lot of people I run across who carry all this debt don't even think about
leveraging that.
Yeah. So,
well, they're afraid. There's a misconception that I'm going to carry that over for 30 years. No, you're not, because your balance goes down every month. Your payment stays the same, but that's called an amortization schedule. Yeah. That's how you increase the principal payoff and reduce the interest. Another thing too is, this is a proven statistic that every 3.17 years somebody refinances their house. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have cycles. So interest rates are going to go up and down, right? So if your current situation right now calls for you need to free up cash flow because you're living paycheck to paycheck, forget about the equity. You're not going to be able to touch it if you go in default. So if you have the opportunity to leverage that out now to place yourself in a better position, that's fine. And a good mortgage planner is going to set up that relationship starts when you close that loan. So if he's doing his due diligence and doing, things by the book, or what he should be doing, he should be managing this for you on a monthly basis. And, I've had clients where we did 2, 3, 4 refinances with them. We started off You know, they didn't have the greatest credit. We restructured the debt out, and then we refinanced again, and then we had another opportunity to. But we're always making sure that at the end of the day, you know, we have an actionable plan, and they're just not sticking that passive income and just going out to restaurants. Don't get me wrong. If you want some extra income, that's fine. But, you know, I don't advise, you know, for that. I advise that you put that money to good use, because naturally credit cards is not, but you free up the credit cards. The one thing that you don't want to do is just reopen those credit cards. You got to be disciplined. But that comes with having an advisor there to kind of guide and coach you through that process, you know, with obviously the largest debt that you ever take on.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably agree too that, okay, you free up, we'll call it $500 in savings on a monthly basis, but you do nothing with that money. You're right back. You're actually probably in a worse position now than you were before.
Yeah, because you can spend more, and you know you can spend more. So you're just going to do it again and again.
So if you don't have a strategy and you don't have a plan of what you're going to do with that savings, it's pointless. So if that's the case, if your mortgage planner, you know you're not going to stay bound to a plan, don't do it, right? Most of the time, don't do it because it's not going to be beneficial.
100%. And just be wary. You know, you're going to see these guys that are just going to be selling out, cash out. They're going to be selling, take out money for equity. Probably the thing that I really I advise against is taking money out to like put an in-ground pool in or something. Like, I don't recommend that you do that. Like,
those cost a ton and they don't add.
Yeah, there you go. It actually could be really bad, couldn't it?
It depends on where you are.
Okay. So let's say Ohio.
I don't think it adds any additional value because you can only use it.
Do you think it would deter somebody?
It could. I mean, anything could deter someone.
I just heard that's like one of the hot items.
Wait. Why would it
deterring?
Why would it? But they don't want like the maintenance, or
it could be the maintenance, the cost of the maintenance.
I wouldn't be deterred away from my house.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
you will when you get that bill. Oh, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm saying if a house I was gonna true. I was gonna say if a house that I'm looking to buy. This is just me.
No, me personally, it wouldn't dissuade me. But there are people that if they have young kids, they don't want to have to worry about the kids being in the backyard, running in the pool. I mean, there's anything in a house could dissuade somebody.
Well, it probably costs money to like close it up, and
it's a few $1,000s a year. We pay. I have an above ground, and it's
I was saying just like if you were to look at a house that you wanted to buy and it had an in-ground pool and you didn't want it, it's not going to be cheap it's going to be just as expensive to take it out as it was to put it in. Is what I'm saying.
Or you fill it in with dirt. And
right.
It's either one. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like if you go to Florida, like I'm sure that pools there probably add value.
Sure.
Or they're just standard out there.
It is standard, but that's the thing. Like here, if you were to add an in-ground pool, I don't know that you would see the same reflection in the value of your home.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that if you paid $20,000 to put an in-ground pool in, I don't know.
20. Oh, bro.
I know they're not that cheap. I'm just using a figure.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're gonna see
$20,000 even in growth in equity and value.
Yeah. And I say that about everything. I mean, there's updates that you can do that like. You could spend all that money, but it's not going to reflect in the value of the home. So, definitely.
So, just out of curiosity, like, what are the best upgrades you can do? And obviously, it's personal preference, right? Because that's what most people go based off of. But like, what are the things that add the most value? Would it be like kitchens?
Kitchens and bathrooms are probably the two biggest.
Kitchens and bathrooms.
I'd say, probably kitchens and bathrooms, just because those are two areas that most people spend a lot of time in.
We even we even have in our trade-in program that we get the question sometimes of, okay, you're going to buy our house, remove the contingency, pay us. What if we want to take some of that money and upgrade the house and bump up the value? We're like, okay, you can do that, but we don't know how much it's going to help you out. If you think it'll help you, it's your money. You can do whatever you want to it.
Right.
But that always left me thinking, like, what really does what are upgrades? Yeah, they help the value, but do they really help it that much? Probably not.
Yeah. Right? So I actually just pulled up a list here. The top 15 home updates that pay off, so are going to pay for themselves in the value of the home.
Yeah.
It has bathroom remodels, landscaping, kitchen remodel, exterior improvements, so like siding, paint, just making sure that it has nice curb appeal. It's a relatively appealing house. Attic and bedroom, like if you have an attic, if you convert that into livable space.
Not anymore, not in Cape Cods. Remember, 50%, if the ceiling is not 50% at 7 foot high or not, you don't get that extra square footage anymore.
Yeah, we were talking about that just yesterday.
Yeah.
And then if you have larger bathroom remodels, larger kitchen remodels, decks, patios, porches, basement remodels. I think those are big.
So,
I mean, anything.
pool hasn't been one on the list.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too, and Evan, I'm sure I'm gonna want you to really chime in on this. Just because you add a bathroom doesn't mean that, like, for an example, if your house is already priced at the top of the market, right?
Adding a bathroom isn't going to change
Like, none of that stuff is gonna, because I mean, it really stems down to square footage, bedroom, bathroom count.
Right.
Correct. Like, you can add that, but you're not going to get like 20, 30,000 because you spent 20, 30,000. So I think people like get that we're going to see that going forward in the future years. Like, I did all this stuff. Okay, you spent $60,000 in a basement. It doesn't mean your house is worth $60,000.
I mean, I just think about it myself. If I'm walking into a house that I want to buy and somebody's like, "Hey, I'll add a bathroom, but it's going to be 40 extra thousand," and I'm gonna be like, "No, don't add the bathroom. I'll be okay with it, and I won't pay you the extra 40,000."
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
Better be a nice bathroom if you're spending 40.
yeah,
grand
right.
on it.
Well, yeah, I was gonna. Okay, 20,000.
Want that sauna.
We're gonna.
Want that sauna.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
The steam room.
Surprised you don't.
6 shower heads.
Are you gonna get one? Do you want to?
No,
Should.
no, my bathroom's too small.
Okay.
Just put it somewhere over here.
Yeah, good.
On that note.
Yeah. On that note, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back for the second part.
3, 2, 1.
Yo, we're back. All right. Joke of the day. Wait.
boy.
Here we go. All right, you guys ready?
Wait, hang
boy.
on. This is I want to make sure everybody knows this is a live reaction. We did not hear this before.
This is a dad
So
joke.
this is our segment. We're going to put a thing on the screen. Dustin's dad joke of the week.
Yeah, pretty much. Dustin's dad joke of the week. Okay, you ready?
Last one.
Hold up, before
last
you
week
start.
flopped.
Yeah, last week flopped. We're going to keep a tally each time, too.
All right,
so
cool.
that way.
All right, this one is actually.
He really
or
wants
nay?
to say it. He really wants.
I picked this
Yeah.
one because of the recent news with Will Smith. Okay, how do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
I don't know.
You follow the Fresh Prince.
That was better than last week's.
I loved it. I'm such a dad.
It was better than last week's, that's
This
for
is
sure.
awesome.
It was better.
It
than
makes,
last
this
week.
one makes sense.
All right. Anyways, all right. So we were talking about, like, should we leverage our equity in the property to restructure debt, to do upgrades. By the way, I forgot to put this in there. Yeah, you also have to consider the amount of time that you're going to be in the property. So you could have an overwhelming amount of debt, and if you plan to move in a very short period of time, closing costs are going to eat up any kind of benefit. So once again, make sure that your mortgage planner has a digital cost analysis. We use the total cost analysis, and stop with the T-square and the fee worksheets and write this down, okay? Because it's all garbage. Anyway, so that's going to push us into should we be selling our house right now? Are we going to make the most money going forward? And there's actually some really good insight on this. So let's touch base on. I don't know, Evan, what do you think? Do you think people are going to make the most money selling right now, or do you think that they should wait? I mean, what are your thoughts there? I know that you're not biased, and I know you're going to give it to them straight.
So that's like there's no correct answer to that. So it's kind of like we had prefaced earlier. If you're comfortable with where the market's at, with how much you're going to make, go for it. Is there a possibility that you could make more by waiting? Absolutely. Is there a possibility that you could lose money if you wait? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no you can't see what the market's going to do. I mean, if we have another year like last year where rates go up or the value of the home goes up by another 18%, you're going to be in an awesome position if you decided to wait.
Yeah.
But we don't know that it's going to go up 18%. We know that gradually over the first several months of the year that the rates or not the rates, the value has gone up slightly each month. Mm-hmm. But we don't know where it's going to end up at the end of the year.
2 to 3. Wait, are you talking home prices?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
More than slightly.
well,
I'm just saying they're
No,
going
yeah,
up
yeah,
though.
yeah. Right. Of course. Yeah.
Well, that's going to probably be put to I'm not going to be put to a halt, but okay, so everybody that's watching, you have to understand, okay, things just don't go up in value, right? There's a reason, a rhyme and a reason behind everything, right? So interest rates, we caught them at the lowest peak, the lowest point in history, right? So that meant that borrowing money was an all-time low. It's the cheapest that it's ever been, right? So some people
close to free.
Yeah, pretty much. And some people are going to be priced out of the market now. Not some, actually. There are going to be people that are currently priced out of the market, and it's going to continue. But they're going to be priced back in. It's just a different opportunity. We have the most unhealthy housing market ever recorded in U.S. history. Not because we're in a bubble, but because the values were exceeding, the overall wages year by year. So couple of the things that I want to look at is what the Fed's trying to do is they're pushing rates up, and they already notated ending remarks from last month's meeting that they are reducing their balance sheet. Once again, if you watched our prior podcast, the balance sheet is going to be what they're investing, what they're buying in mortgage-backed securities, and they own about 2.9 trillion. They're going to start offloading those, and the price of bonds is going to deteriorate, right? So people are not going to buy them. Rates are going to go up higher. And what the whole point of this, the premise is let's push the rates up as high as we can so it cools the market off. And honestly, sellers and home builders, you need to be put in check. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. Like, you're causing an unhealthy market right now. And I'm sorry, but things cannot keep going up. I know that you want to make your money. I know that, but the cost of money is going to get more expensive, and that's what we
It already
need.
is getting more expensive.
Yeah, we need to level the playing field,
And some people are just getting forced out of the market, right? Which that's what we need to happen to level the playing field. Like, I don't think
100%.
that high interest rates are making people disinterested from buying a house. Clearly that's not stopping.
They're deterring people a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah, but the rates aren't as far off from where they were in
2018,
2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing is it's physically pushing people out of the market. Like, there is multiple pre-approved buyers we had a few months ago who can't qualify anymore because they're priced out of the market.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we need that to happen, though. We need it, or else, like you said, they need to be put in check, right? Because if we don't do that, it's going to get crazy.
They have too much leverage.
Yeah.
They don't need to have that much leverage. They really don't. And that's the bottom. And then when you look at builder sentiment and like the new builds, like, they don't build for inventory issues or what people are looking to buy. They build around profit, so they build. So they'll keep building houses, but, as the rates keep going up higher and as the cost of materials goes, that'll deter them from building. Right. So remember, they don't.
I think
move
to
with
an
the market.
extent it already has deterred a lot of them from building.
Yeah. I mean, you got mid-construction. You got cost of materials going up, mid-construction. I mean, it's a nasty game out there right now. But once again, builders too much leverage, and they work around profit. I mean, how can you blame them? It's a business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so what does that tell us for our original question? Am I going to make the most money right now by selling?
I can't tell you if you're going to make the most money, but you're going to
Let's be honest.
Yeah, you probably are.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not going to get, I don't think it's going to get better. You're not going to have.
When you have people priced out of the market, you lose buyers. That drives
do.
down competition. When you don't have as much competition, people aren't willing to pay as much, right? Does that mean prices are going to go down? Probably not.
Nah, they'll level. They're going to level. I mean, come on, let's face facts.
I don't think
they're
they're
not
going to go
anywhere.
up.
They're not going. They're not going down because we literally don't have enough inventory.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they're going to go up, but I don't think I don't think they're going to go
not at the
down,
rate
but
that
I
it
don't
is
think
now.
they're going to go up at the rate that they have.
Exactly.
No, 100%. No, well, that's our last line of defense. We tried every single thing else. Like, there's nothing else. This is our last shot is to raise rates. I mean, what else are you going to do? Tell me what you're going to do. Nothing.
Right.
And if the recession hits, and there are 4 signs, 4 out of the 7, if the recession hits, then that's going to drop rates, and that's not going to be good for us. So anybody that's like hoping for a recession because rates drop, you think twice.
Yeah.
Think twice, because you think that you're going to come back into the market, but you're not. You're just going to allow all those people that were kind of fence sitting that actually have the money and they have the credit and capacity, they're just going to come back in and still outbid you. So the people that are getting priced out right now, unfortunately, you probably weren't really meant to be in that market to begin with. And it's unfortunate with what people have been doing with leverage and pricing, but it is what it is. But once again, in the future, like I said, hopefully it'll stay stale, and then we'll be able to catch up with it over time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's spot on as far as a prediction goes. We all know you can't say
There's
for
no
sure.
definite answer, but I agree.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing all the right signs that point in the direction of that, right? So, but I think it poses the other question, like, do you think somebody should just sell right now because the values are high and they can get a lot for their house.
Well,
Because I think a lot of people are thinking about that.
Yeah, a lot of people are, but I think they need to have a plan.
Right.
Where are you going to go?
Right. And well, here's the thing. I think it comes down to situational too, right? Because if somebody who if it's like a family who needs to stay in a certain school district, or they're very picky and specific
or
on
limited on where they can be.
Even if they can get a lot for their house, it's probably not the best to consider selling and buying, unless you have a very good strategy and it makes sense. But if you're somebody who is just, they could sell their house at any point in time, and you're going into, if you're an older person, you're going into retirement or whatever it may be, okay, yeah, maybe it's a good time to consider selling. You know what I mean? But I don't think that you should just sell just because the values are high.
No, because if you're going to buy, what's going to happen?
Right.
You're going to buy it the same rate that you're selling it to the
well,
other
but
person.
I feel like there's even some people who are like, I just sold and now I'm just going to go rent for a year, wait for the market to cool off, and I'm just going to buy then, right? Once the recession hits, right? I feel like I've been hearing that so much.
Yeah, the Crash Bros had been around since 2012, 13, or no, 2000. Like 15?
Since the last crash.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that crash to happen. Well, here's the other thing. This is the good thing about the trade-in program, right? You had a lot of people. We talked about this earlier. A lot of people that don't have a plan going forward. Okay, so we have the trade-in program. What is the trade-in program? Literally, we're going to come in there. We're going to qualify you out. We're going to make you the offer. You don't have to sell until you find a house.
Right.
It is the most pristine program that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take your time, find something. If you don't find something, okay, you're not obligated. You know.
Right.
So what better could be? You're not subjected to taking a bridge loan, paying 8 to 9% those costs, or you have some that'll clear that home off your debt ratios, your debt to income ratios, but you're still fronting 2 mortgage payments. So I think that the trade-in program is the most actionable plan going forward. I don't know. What do you think, Evan?
Yeah, I think any program that you're able to leverage what you have. I mean, because with you guys, I mean, that takes care of that. That takes care of the sale contingency. You don't have to worry about, okay, well, now I have to make sure that everything's going to go through. Because when you have that sale contingency, okay, well, if they have an inspection, please, Lord, make sure there's nothing wrong with my home. If you have to do an appraisal, please, Lord, make sure that this house appraises. And then there's stuff in between there where the buyer can still be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many things. And then with that program, you don't have to worry about it. It's basically sold already.
Yeah.
Basically.
It is sold.
It
is sold already. Yeah. And you can buy whatever you want. And then at that point, they don't have the responsibility to sell it. They don't have to go through.
And they're not obligated to sell it to us. So it's
Correct.
like, you want to pull out, I don't want to sell it to you. Okay, fine. We're not in the business of buying houses.
Convenience.
But we have that warehouse line because we know what you're going through right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to refresh anybody, or if anybody doesn't know it, if they're confused, basically our trading program, the way it works, if you have to sell before you buy, we'll make an offer on your house, basically, and a cash offer, and basically let you go shopping, place an offer as a buyer without the contingency to sell your house before you buy. There's no financing contingency or anything like that. And then a day before you close on the new house, we basically buy your house cash and we remove that contingency. But in the event that you accept the offer from us, or our cash offer, and you don't find a house, the contract's null and void. So it's really just cutting that whole transaction out of it, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really good
I think
plan.
you can help a lot of families.
Yeah, definitely. And, there's bridge loans out there, right? And there's programs like other companies are doing that'll remove the monthly liability, which is great because it'll allow people to qualify for more. But I think a lot of people need the proceeds from their house when they are going to buy a new one. Most people don't have the amount of money that they want to put down stashed away outside of their equity if they're selling and buying. So in that sense, I think that it doesn't really work, and it would be the same with a bridge loan, right? For the most part. I mean, you get to use the equity in your house for a bridge loan, but I don't know. I don't really know how those work, to be honest with you. I've never done them. I've stayed away just because I know it's actually technically non-QM, isn't it? A bridge loan?
Yeah, it's not a.
It's not even a qualified mortgage.
No, it's not. It doesn't even abide to
Fannie Freddie.
Yeah, federal regulation. Regulators. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't fall under those guys.
So.
Yeah, like Respitil. It doesn't. No, it doesn't fall under those.
So if you're gonna sell and buy, I wouldn't recommend it. We have them. I don't think I would ever recommend it though.
No, absolutely not.
You know.
No. The trade it
Do
because
as
you're
you
not
please.
obligated to
Yeah.
anything.
But-
And I mean, it's like literally you look at it, it's 1.5% cost. I mean, it's 1.5% for the peace of mind. With the amount of money that you're making anyways. and you leave the doubt out the door. So, I mean, kick it out of there. I'm ready to go. I
Right.
mean, that's the whole
It's done.
point.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah,
It's over with.
absolutely.
So, yeah, no, but I think we kind of answered the question. Are you going to make the most money right now? The answer is
Probably.
we don't know, but probably.
I mean, the most money that you make is when you're ready to do it, right? Are you really, honestly, are you really like, look, I mean, okay, I understand. You want to make a few more thousand.
Yeah,
Maybe
nobody
you
wants
do.
a bad deal.
But at the end of the day, there's that risk, risk versus
Always.
reward, So if it's the time for you to move, it's the time for you to move, right? I'm pretty sure people in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they were moving. They weren't looking, I hope rates drop below 6%. I'm pretty sure everybody wanted that, right? But at the end of the day, when you're ready to move and you're ready to start a family, you're ready to grow your wealth, start growing your wealth. Because remember, if you have a good mortgage planner, he's got an actionable plan, and he's going to monitor this, should be monitoring on a monthly basis, waiting for that opportunity to capitalize. So, and then on top of that, if you're only going to be in your house on average for 8 to 9 years, that's another thing too. So you're looking at the interest rates of the 30-year fixed, right? It's a 30-year security instrument, right? Why are you paying 30 years of risk when you know that you're not going to be in your house for that long?
Right.
So that's another question that you have to ask yourself.
Definitely. Well, the other thing I want to touch on too that we were talking about before is somebody who's selling right now just to sell because they can make a ton of money and then going and renting. Okay, you can make $10,000 more.
I'm going to pull up a rent versus own analysis right now.
You can make $10,000 more. We'll call it you can make a little bit more money now selling your house as opposed to if you were to wait, which we can't prove, right? But okay, now you're going to go spend $1,500 a month on rent.
Well, aren't you just throwing them
Over
out
a
there?
year? That's the money's gone. So did you really?
Come out ahead?
Yeah. Did
No.
you? Probably not. And on top of it, you have to move twice. That'd be
You have to move out of your house and then
it'd be 2 moves. Okay, sorry, I had to put that all together. But yeah, you'd be 2 moves, which that's no fun, and that's not.
Let me know when you guys are ready.
No, yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it doesn't make sense, but let's hear it.
Yeah. So we've got. Let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on one second. Let's see here. The all-in-one.
Yeah.
Actually, you guys go on. Let me find it again. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, it just I don't see why I really can't think of a good reason as to why you would do that. If you already own and you're going to sell because you can make a lot of money and you're going to, especially if you have a family too, and you're going to sell and rent for it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
everybody's situation.
And I know that it's happening because I know I was speaking with a leasing agent at an apartment complex, and she said 85% of the people who are coming in right now are people who just sold and they don't have anywhere to go, which is that's crazy to me. It's crazy. That's a lot of people.
So actually, the family that lived at the end of my street,
Yeah.
did the same thing. They couldn't find something, so they sold their house here in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving down to Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find anything.
So I ended up renting.
Wrote several offers, and they said,
Okay,
"Well, we're
well,
running out of
here's-
time.
here's
We
the
have to
thing
be at
about
our."
I got it when you guys are ready.
And they said we have to be at our house by X date.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, obviously, we need to be down there."
Right.
So I mean, they
But would
ended
you
up
agree that situation's a little bit different though?
it is?
Because
That's
they
the
had
thing,
to
though.
go to
Everybody's
Columbus.
situation is a little bit different.
They had to go to Columbus. So if they were just
Yeah.
selling just to sell, and then they were just like, I can't find anything, I'm just going to rent now, but I made all this money on my house, I wouldn't agree with that. But in that case, I would agree. Because
Yeah.
they had to move to Columbus regardless, so that they couldn't find anything. They were
Right.
trying to find something, but they
Right.
couldn't.
I mean, everybody. There's.
It's all situational.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's all situational. But yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until the interest rates get to 4% before I ever buy a house. Now,
Right.
let's look at this. Okay, 60-month analysis. Okay, let's say you're paying $1,200 a month in rent. Okay, so we got $1,200 a month.
Which is pretty conservative now for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'm
Depending
trying
on where
to,
you're at and what you're buying or renting, it's.
Yeah, so 1,200. If we take that over just a 5-year span, that's $74,938 that we're gonna pay in rent. Okay.
5 years.
Yeah, over 5 years, right? So let's say that we take the mortgage at $250,000, okay? And we're putting 5% down. Okay? Yep, that's 5. No, I'm sorry, 10% down. We're going to spend about $106,659, okay? So, it's going to be higher than renting, right? But we also have something that we call that forced savings account, that money that you're building up in principal every single month, okay? That's not what you're making, but you're building that up.
What
That's,
you get to keep.
Right, $17,311. When I actually look at the net cost of a $250,000 house, that's $89,348, just over a 6-year period, right? But here's the kicker. Here's where we make our money. And this is where you have rent increasing 11.8% a year. Well, we have homes increasing at 4%, double digits in the past few years. So now we're looking at that house being worth about $304,163 after a 5-year period. And I know my balance is going to be, if I'm just making the minimum payment, right, is $207,689. So if I sold that property in 5 years, my ROI is $96,474. That's what's coming back to me.
Right.
But if I rent, it's nothing. And that's really conservative on the rent side because I'm using 4% increase on that rent. I'm not using 11.8%.
Right.
So,
well, even the price of the rent was conservative too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most places, like if you look in some of your areas, like Lakewood, Cleveland.
Oh, $1,500 easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of 1-bedrooms that are going for. I mean, if you go to Crocker Park over here, 1-bedroom apartments, $1,200 a month.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's just insane. So yeah, 100% at the end of the day.
Okay, you sell now, you make 25 or 30,000 more. We'll call it.
Yeah.
By selling now instead of waiting, but then you just go and spend all of that other money. So you basically either break even or even lose money by doing it. I would agree. I would say. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the bottom line is does it make sense to sell? Well, let's look at your situation with your life. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, and something I think we talked about recently, exactly, that's 100% what I was going to say. I think something that we have talked about more recently is that it's tough to follow the market in terms of like housing. Like it's life events. It's
Look
really
what happened. COVID.
Really, what it's based off of. It's just life events.
Yeah.
Because if you try to be analytical and go with the housing, you're either gonna time it good and get a house that you don't like, that you hate and don't like
because you're
living
gonna have
in,
to settle,
or you're gonna find something you like and you're not gonna time it up right. So I think it's just, yes, you can make smart decisions. You could pick a smart time to buy. You can pick a smart time to sell. But at the end of the day, it all should be based around your life events.
Life events and waiting for the opportunity when it comes up. Like not
rushing it.
Yeah,
right?
just waiting and just being patient, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're trying to time the market with investments. It's like, are you serious?
Right. And I think there's even some people who come to us and are like, hey, we're ready to buy. And I think they're rushing it. Some people are like, I'm ready to buy like now. And we're like, no, we should do this, this, and this, save up this amount of money. You're expected to get a raise. You're taking care of these student loans, whatever it is, even if they can qualify, or we can force the loan to work with down payment assistance or whatever it may be. Sometimes we've told people before, I don't think it's a good idea to buy. You can do whatever you want. We're not going to deny you. It's fair housing. We can't. But look at this. It's probably not a good idea to buy. So I think it's all about what's going on in your life, what life events are happening. It just doesn't make sense for you. I mean, not necessarily with the market, whether if it's you're selling or if you're buying.
Yeah, you should work for the mortgage. The mortgage should work for you. You shouldn't work for the mortgage.
Right.
That's. I'll always say that.
Right. No. So I think it was a really good episode. We dug into a lot, a little bit all over the place, but
yeah, it was all.
It's okay.
Nonetheless, it's good knowledge. Good
yeah,
information.
that's the whole point of a podcast, I think, too. And
it's not supposed to be 100% scripted. It's
you
get off topic.
It's definitely not scripted here. I can tell you that much.
You beat yourself and and us up sometimes when we get all over the place, but it's especially with you two on the way you.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
I can't keep
I
you
do
guys
bullet
under
points now. All right, I'm the one that does the bullet
points. I can't keep you guys under control, but no, nonetheless, it was a little scattered, but I think it was a lot of really good information. And once again, it's not firm information, right? We're human, just like everybody else. We don't know what's going to happen. Do we pay attention to data and statistics? Sure. Can we use that to predict what's going to happen and based off what everybody else or what economists and other people are saying? Yeah, we can.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is opinion based.
It's 100%.
Just actionable plans, being proactive. That's all you can do.
And what's the best thing? Yeah. What's the best thing you can know moving forward if you're gonna do something? Yeah.
Sure.
So,
and if you made it all the way to the end, drop some comments. Let us know some topics that you'd like to see us cover.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to.
We are due for a guest. So
yeah, we're due for a guest too. So
it's been a couple episodes.
Keep an eye out for that within the next maybe week or two.
Yeah.
Should have a guest on.
Will's been begging to come back on. So.
Yeah.
No, he's never coming back on.
He hasn't been begging.
Just playing.
No, he hasn't.
He's definitely not going to see this either.
Nope.
Not a chance. All right,
No.
cool. No, great episode nonetheless.
All right, guys.
Be back next week.
For sure.
Thanks.
All right.